Anti-consumerism and minimalism have literally taken over the internet. Now, don't get me wrong. On my channel, I talk all the time about how simplicity is the key to success. Simplifying life definitely saves tons of money and time so that things in your life don't fall apart and you don't get overwhelmed. Minimalism and anti-consumerism are mindsets that I also follow. It's just that I don't subscribe to an all or nothing approach. My approach includes simplicity and moderation. These two things together. And what you tend to see on social media most of the time are the extremes. One side is pushing consumerism to the next level where we are buying beauty products and clothes and wasting so much money on things we are never going to wear or never going to use. And on the flip side, you have the extreme anti-consumerism group who is against wrapping birthday gifts because it's bad for the environment. And I think most people are in the middle somewhere on a spectrum between those two extremes. So today, as one of those normal people in the center, I would like to talk about what I do in my life to reduce the amount that I'm buying and to reduce waste and ultimately save money in the process. So item number 1 on my list is reducing paper towel usage. Of course, the people on this extreme may be so extreme that they say, no paper towels in my house at all. I do have paper towels in my house, but I do try to minimize their use because for one thing, it's wasteful, and the other thing, it's just plain expensive. Paper towels are very expensive, and while there's a time and a place for a paper towel where you want to clean up a mess and you want to throw it in the garbage, there are plenty of viable ways to cut down on paper towel usage. For instance, I no longer use paper towels to clean my home. I use reusable microfiber cloths that I can run through the washing machine and use again and again. This saves me a ton of money and it definitely reduces the amount of waste. Another thing that I was using a lot of paper towels for was for drying off my vegetables because I just don't like to use a cloth towel. I was finding that I was just reaching for a paper towel every time, so I invested the money in a salad spinner. And let me tell you, I know a lot of people might even say it's something bulky that you'll never use. In my kitchen, I use it literally every single day for salads and other veggies. I cannot even explain how many paper towels this one change has saved me. So much money savings because I bought that little salad spinner. So those are two common sense ways that I have reduced my paper towel usage and saved a boatload of money every month. Common sense practice number 2 is to be more mindful of purchasing fast fashion clothing. Now, I'm not going to go get in my closet and just throw away all of the polyester. That is not going to happen. I've already spent money on those items. I intend to wear them out and then to replace them with higher quality cloth clothing going forward. Also, in a previous video, I talked about how I have been donating a lot of my plus size clothing as I have lost weight. I've lost 100 pounds plus, and I got rid of 2 clothing sizes out of my closet, and I did that by donating those items. And so now that I'm not working a normal 9-to-5 job, again, I discussed that in other videos. I'm not going to talk about it here, but I am not working a normal 9-to-5 job. I have additional time on my hands, and I have sewing skills. Thank you to home ec, which doesn't exist in schools anymore, I guess. I guess it's not important to be able to do everyday life skills like mending clothes and sewing on a button and making jam. And so I can sew. I have good sewing skills. I just haven't used them in a while because I've been too busy working a 9-to-5 job. And my old schedule would have never allowed that. But now I have the luxury of time, and I can save some money on the other side by not donating my clothing, but rather altering them to fit my new size. Another easy thing that I do that saves a substantial amount of money is that whenever I feel that I need to go buy something for a specific purpose, I like to first ask myself if there's anything that I already have that can basically take care of the same issue. For instance, maybe I'm suffering from cramps. So a lot of people are tempted to run out to the store to buy a specific product for that. Midol, Pamprin, stuff like that. But in my house, we have simplified our medications because medications are a huge source of waste. They're not good for very long. You need them so infrequently, hopefully, that you can almost never use them all up. So what I like to do is instead of buying, various medications, I need one blanket pain reliever. In my house, it's Tylenol. We choose one pain reliever and we stock that. Off-brand acetaminophen, I'm not always the brand name. I don't always have the brand name. But the point is having just one pain reliever to relieve all types of pain. Or maybe I want to make a quesadilla or a panini. So rather than going out and buying a special panini press that I'm probably not even going to use that much. So for instance, if I'm making a quesadilla or a panini or something of that nature that I want it to be pressed, I will just use high heat on my existing skillet. I can set something like another pan on or just press down with my spatula to achieve the same result without having to buy an additional item. Another common sense thing that we do around our house is to use up what we have in the house before we buy anything new. And I know that this tends to be very tempting when it comes to beauty products like shampoos or moisturizers or other body products. Maybe we saw something on social media that made us big, bold promises that our moisturizer is better than whatever moisturizer you already have or whatever it might be. Maybe a better mascara, thicker eyelashes. And you're like, oh, I gotta go get that because it's gonna be better than what I've got. And you go and get it, and the next thing you know, your old stuff is just sitting around your house, never to be used again. So my rule in my house is I need to use up what I already have before I replace it with something else. And while we are at it, could we please address the extreme capsule wardrobes that I have been seeing all over YouTube? Most people just wearing black. I happen to be wearing black today, but as you can see behind me, my closet is full of colors. Now I understand the benefit that keeping your wardrobe simple reduces decision fatigue. It helps reduce the number of decisions you've got to make in your life, but I need some color in my life too. So that is another thing that I do not subscribe to. I perfectly understand if people want to have like a uniform that they wear all the time and their clothes never change, but you're not going to find any of that on this channel because I like to have color. I like to have variety. I have a closet full of clothes. It is pared down to only the clothes that I wear. And also what is hanging up back there is only the clothes that I wear in the current season. The stuff that's out of season is tucked underneath in bins. And then I rotate the clothes out once a year. When it starts to get cold, I'll switch it out. Right now I have my summer stuff up there. Well, some people may find that having like 10 tops or a couple pairs of pants is good enough for them. I don't personally follow that. So I have my real wardrobe is right behind me. Sometimes with some of those influencers, I really honestly wonder if their real closet is like somewhere else because it's hard for me to believe sometimes that it can even be their real wardrobe. I personally don't believe in a rigid form of minimalism and frugality. I believe in a well-balanced approach to life, and that is also true when it comes to my wardrobe. And last but not least, in fact, this is probably the key point in this entire video. A lot of people have a misconception. For me, the entire point of living a minimalist, frugal lifestyle is so that I can actually have everything or most of what I want out of this life. Basically, it is a way to cut spending in a targeted way to cut out the excess, the things that really don't matter to me, so that I can place priority on things that are really important. And actually, on a meal prep video not long ago, I had a viewer reach out to me with a comment that I could have bought cheaper noodles. And she's absolutely right. I use the protein noodles. Those are definitely the more expensive, higher end noodle choice. She's absolutely correct. However, I did explain to her that for me, my health is quite a high priority, and I have made a decision that I'm going to spend a little bit more money on something like that because it is a processed food. When it comes, for me, when it comes to processed foods, I choose to spend a little bit more money to get a higher quality, less terrible product because it's processed. It's already not the best choice. To make it homemade would be, number one. That would be my number one option. But because I have chosen to take a shortcut, I have chosen to use a processed ingredient, which is not ideal to begin with. I choose wisely which brand I go with. I try to choose the lesser of the two evils. And always, like almost always, that does cost a little bit more money. And I am ready and willing to spend for that because it matters, because it's my health. And that is one of my top priorities. Now, don't get me wrong. I have, when I was younger especially, when I first moved to Houston, when I got laid off in 2009 and I wound up here in Houston, there were years where every single penny counted. And I could not afford to buy protein noodles. At that time, I was younger, I was healthier. My health still mattered. I didn't really realize how much it mattered. But honestly, at that time, getting food into my stomach was my first priority. I needed to be able to eat. And that meant that I was sometimes buying foods that were the very cheapest thing, just like, this person had mentioned. It depends on who you are. It depends on where you are in your life. It depends on your own personal priorities as to where you allocate your money, because money is a finite resource, and we have to, if we want to spend for the things that matter, we have to cut where it doesn't matter. And that is the entire basis, in my opinion, of frugality. That is the reason why I seek to live a frugal and minimalist lifestyle, because I don't want to spend my money on garbage, and I want to reroute every penny I have towards the things that actually are going to do me good in my life. So, all that to say that being frugal or being minimalist does not mean that you are always cheap. In fact, sometimes you're going to spend more money for a better quality item that's going to last, or a better quality item that's going to serve the purpose better. And that is still, in my opinion, that is within the realm of minimalist or frugality lifestyle. It's just not extreme. I do not subscribe to an extreme idea of minimalism and frugality. So thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and spending today with me. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that other people like you can find my video. And speaking of that meal prep video that I was just talking about, that was one of my most popular meal prep videos. I got so many comments and so many likes on that video. It was where I took one $5 chicken from Sam's Club. And I don't take a lot of convenience items, but the rotisserie chicken from Sam's Club, especially for $5, is actually one of the convenience items or shortcuts that I love to use to make meal prep easier for myself, especially during busy weeks. So make sure you check out that meal prep video. It'll be right over here.